Welcome to Tonight with Tim Modise. On the show tonight, we talk to one of the outspoken stalwarts of the African National Congress, Mavuso Msimang, about the future of President Jacob Zuma, and we'll follow that with a discussion. I'll be joined by analysts Dumisani Hlope and Tabang Mutsuhi. They'll be discussing the management of Zuma's departure. Good evening. South Africa has in recent weeks been engrossed in the news about the departure of Jacob Zuma as president of the country. The anticipation went into overdrive this past Sunday when the ANC top six, led by the party's president, Cyril Ramaphosa, met with Jacob Zuma to ask him to resign. He declined, leading to a tense 2 days that ended with the State of the Nation address scheduled for tonight, 8th February, being postponed. It was not only the only event that was postponed. The ANC urgently scheduled a National Executive Committee to deliberate on his departure, and that was also postponed. In the meantime, the EFF motion of no confidence in Zuma as president is set for the 22nd of February. As we speak, Cyril Ramaphosa, the man who's likely to take over from Zuma, is still negotiating with him to leave the office of the president. To discuss the situation is the ANC stalwart, Mr. Mavuso Msimang. Dr. Msimang, good evening to you and welcome.
Hi, thanks, Tim, and hi to your viewers.
Well, something very dramatic happening in the country. It's happening in slow motion, actually. Who would have thought that the State of the Nation address would ever be postponed, having been so much an important ritual in the democratic calendar of politics in South Africa since 1994, but here we are.
Absolutely, absolutely. Things have been proceeding at breakneck speed. I think it all started in December at the elective conference of the ANC when Cyril Ramaphosa was elected president. It was very clear then that there has to be a change, not just a change of guard, but a total change of culture within the ANC. The ANC that had been associated with incompetence, let's face it, with corruption, was to be shown to the rest of the public that it was soon going to be a thing of the past. So Ramaphosa really sought to stamp his authority, clean government. He talked about corruption as being his target to remove. And so the issue then became what happens to Zuma? Is still entitled to stay until next year when his term expires. But it was clear that it would be very, the situation of Zuma and Cyril Ramaphosa being co-presidents of party and country respectively was not tenable.
But you know, the ANC from December has been talking about renewal, has been talking about unity. The matter of the president of the country, Jacob Zuma, was always on the agenda and at some point had to be attended, given the meetings of the NEC saying or mandating the top six to talk to him to step down. And of course, the opposition parties continuing to agitate for him to step down. The investigations that are taking place, the decision that is still to be made by the NPO on whether to prosecute him or not, the People's Tribunal, the hearings there, coming up with further information that suggests that the president may have been implicated in corruption. The expectation overall now, majority of people expecting the president to go, and he's still there in the office.
If Mr. Zuma had been cooperative, he would have been gone by now. In fact, he should have been gone many years ago after the Constitutional Court, last year at least, passed a judgment that he had failed in his constitutional responsibilities. Well, he's not the type of person who quits, and it's very clear that he wasn't ready to go, and since no one in the ANC really has the authority to tell him to go, for what you would call a disciplined member of the ANC, if a decision was made that he should go, he would accept that, just like Thabo Mbeki did, and he would be gone. But not so with Mr. Zuma. He clearly is digging in. He's hoping he's been whipping up support, and he's got support right on the top six and in the NEC. And he has been acting, I would say, extremely negatively and not quite facilitating the change to Cyril Ramaphosa. So The crisis arises because if it decides to dig his heels, the only way he can be removed would be if Parliament voted by a 2/3 majority that he should go. Only then would he go. The ANC, which has asked him to go, I think has, in this space of time that you're talking about, been advising him to go. And it was clear that if he didn't listen to them, he would be on his own when these votes of no confidence come up. But the idea, the wish was that he be not humiliated, he not humiliate himself, that he accepts the decision of the NEC, which has always been accepted by disciplined people, and goes. He hasn't done that. That's why we're still in this conundrum up to today.
So what's going through his mind, and what kind of mandate do you think Cyril Ramaphosa has from the ANC point of view, and what are the moves that he can pull to finally get President Zuma to step down or persuade him to step down?
First of all, the main component resolutions that came out of the meeting were unity and renewal. Unity did mean that the camps that were facing each other, almost at war, certainly of words with each other, should try and come together. This is not something that you just declare overnight and say, now we're at peace and there is peace. There were reasons why people supported Zuma. Many of the people supported him because they benefited from patronage as a result of the association with him. Others were very much involved in the misdemeanors, the corruption that has been associated with the regime of Zuma. So it would take a little bit of time to work unity into place. And that time is not very soon if you want to build a strong unity. Never mind the pronouncements that we heard from, I think, Nomvula Mokonyana and the Treasurer General Mashatile saying, now we're all one, the past is forgotten. It doesn't work like that. So that's not yet been achieved. Renewal actually means going back to the values that have been associated with the ANC. They're usually referred to Tambo, Mandela during those wonderful days. The many people who served the ANC over the decades, over a century, have been values of service to the people, values of integrity, and values of respect and being trustworthy. That's what will take time, but that's the agenda that has to be implemented. Otherwise, the ANC will not really see its way back into the trust.
Is there anything now, and generally the expectation is that President Zuma is going to leave the office. Is he? It does not seem like it, or maybe the expectations were too high that this will happen overnight. So it's like a movie happening in slow motion, and in the process, the president of the ANC, Cyril Ramaphosa, is suffering from a credibility point of view, and I think the general mood in the country as well is going down in terms of the way the politics of the country is run.
I can understand that, but I think he should be given a chance. Ramaphosa must be given a chance. He's dealing with a very difficult candidate here. Zuma, after the pronouncement of the Constitutional Court last year, which said, where he said he would pay back the money and he had failed in his responsibilities, he asked for a press conference or a public announcement. That was given to him, and what did he say? He said, well, I'm sorry I inconvenienced you. He never apologized, by the way. People must know that. So you are dealing with a person who could pull a Mugabe quite easily when a date has been arranged for him to say, sorry, I'm ready to go. Thank you for the support. Might just, like Mugabe, say, well, I'm not quite sure why you're doing this. I'm the legitimate ruler of this country. You are dealing with a person who, most unfortunately for the ANC, but of the ANC's own making, the ANC elected him. And they elected a person really who is not the type of person who cares too much for the organization. The credibility gap is really increasing thanks to the fact that he has not yet gone. Cyril Ramaphosa is unable to say go. Constitutionally, somebody else must say that. And that will take time. I think the EFF has got something lined up on the 22nd of February, no confidence motion. You know, for the first time, you might just find the ANC, if this matter is not resolved now, voting either with the opposition, and there's nothing wrong with that as far as I'm concerned, or not opposing the opposition when they call for a vote of no confidence, as long as that delivers the two-thirds majority. I just don't see that they would want to continue to be embarrassed by the actions of Mr.
Well,
Zuma.
the possibility looms large that it may end up being the EFF that determines who becomes president of the country within weeks if this matter is not resolved as per the deliberations taking place now. Mavuso Msimang, thank you very much, and Tate Msimang, for having been our guest tonight.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Well, a very difficult situation indeed that South Africa finds itself in, and I suppose Cyril Ramaphosa, as leader of the ANC, is having his own issues there. We'll be looking at how he is managing these negotiations with two analysts, Dumisani Hlope and Thabang Motsohi.